Why is Rudeus so controversial? Do his actions compose his very being? And who even is Rudeus in the first place? And why is he the subject of contention within the show Mushoku Tensei? Well, to summarize the character that he truly is, a gross NEET. Really, the show depicts his character to be an absolute detestable, uncontributing, and selfish piece of garbage in the world. So, why is this such a good thing in terms of character development, depth, and overall allure? Because the very idea of his character is the concept of potential. To give someone another identity, and what they choose to do with it will indicate the type of personality they hold. It's this futuristic approach, the unexpected change and complete misjudgment we make about Rudeus at the start, which deceives you into forming preconceived beliefs about him you thought were right. Now, everyone is inclined to say his actions are unforgivable and morally unjustifiable, and to that I agree, but Rudeus Greyrat is not Rudeus. Let me explain. The person he becomes after his untimely death is a manifestation of the person he should have been, exemplified by the selfless actions he took before dying, which is why he was given a second chance to prove himself. He was spared and understood that he was no longer the same man he once was. Now, Rudeus perceives the world differently, shaped by his thoughts, no longer by his values. Despite being convinced by his old ways sometimes, he is still learning, experiencing, and retaining knowledge as he grows anew. It's this developmental aspect to his character which gives him life, which allows us to feel emotion for him. Let's talk about him overcoming previous obstacles. Socialization was simply too hard for him, which gave him the impression of who he was. He was merely influenced as he lacked social awareness. In his new life, however, he began to improve upon the features he once lacked, even identify and criticize himself about it. Rudeus for this truly epitomizes the resistance of his old ways, the rebound into a profound and new beginning, reshaped and made happier and more fulfilled by the new environment around him. The minute things he once found trivial became important suddenly. This transformative intrigue he portrays throughout the show continues and simply allows him to redefine himself. The show is about finding out who Rudeus is, what are his ideologies, and follow each and every actions as well as the consequences that entail those results. This leads into him having to deal with, and as a symbol of regret, maintain a semblance of what he truly is representative of, making him explorative and curious to compensate for his lack of knowledge and understanding. Learning magic was essentially his scapegoat, his preventer from reminding him of the self he left behind. Mushoku Tensei represents the story of a man who interprets both sides of morality in nuanced ways, the nihilist and the optimist clashing. His own beliefs are the very dynamic of what makes his journey interesting. This makes the substance of his character itself feel real and is what the depth I was talking about was. Rudeus, rather than overshadowing previous thought processes, evaluates the reason of his very existence, making him come to many existential conclusions about why he was exempt from permanent suffering, learning that worrying about what he can't change will only bring despair, and that he should learn to embrace and foster this new beginning in this new world. Throughout Mushoku Tensei, progressing with many novel interactions with Roxy, Sylphie, and yes, especially Eris, each give him a valuable insight on the fundamentals of this world, which he can incorporate within himself in order to truthfully achieve his own success and fulfillment. And I think that through exploring himself, he found true enlightenment and began to comprehend the state of the world, the suffering, the emotions, and everything that composed what he once tried to avoid and now he acknowledged. Instilled with newfound curiosity and infinite possibilities to change his destiny, made Rudeus optimistic about life, which begs the question, was he even nihilistic from the start? Or did he not understand himself? So, he was hasty with his conclusions about the information of the world, and I personally think Mushoku Tensei is the story of overcoming oneself, overcoming once made you sad, and to appreciate the things you get to have even if you do not really understand it. By adding this final aspect to Rudeus' character, I can proudly say I enjoyed his transformation from a young and ignorant kid into a responsible but still laid-back adult. Rudeus Greyrat is the character that made you emotional, the character that gave you the feelings of anticipation, and the character that made you relate. It was never about his old self. It was about the pivot into a new life, and his decision to mold it into something inspirational. But as of now, Rudeus, through his many battles, sacrifices, and losses, there's a theme of change, but a change into a true essentialist, an unwavering person known as Rudeus Greyrat, who in the face of adversity won't falter, but resents the person who he was, his previous memories, actions, and commitments, reformed by his responsibilities and partially regretful of what he once was, but accepting who he is now. In summary, Rudeus has an optimistic approach to nihilism, and even though sometimes he will inevitably suffer in the face of adversity, there will always be a figurative path for him to go down, regardless of the deplorable actions he takes to get there. It's about identifying what he desires most, and never giving up until he obtains that truth for himself. This bad rap Rudeus has gotten may or may not be deserved, but I can certainly confirm one thing as an objective fact. Rudeus Greyrat from Mushoku Tensei is one of the most misunderstood characters in anime. If you liked the video and you want to see more, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below who your favorite Mushoku Tensei character is. And as always,